Peace and blessings, family. Started by Ceka with level 7 and 7 principles. This video a little serious. This is much like the last one. I want to converse a little bit about ascension and ascending, and what happens when you ascend, and what happens when you're on a true path to ascension. Like I said in the last video, I left the instructions on what you need to do, what your so-called leaders need to be doing to ascend. So if you haven't seen that one, check out that video, STFU, meaning shut the fuck up, the secret to ascension. Look into that one on my YouTube page. Bottom 11 BUTTOM11 or Ceka. What is it? Ceka, the truth frequency transmitter. So I'm a little preoccupied. I'm looking for a store right now while I'm driving. But this is really important. I had to put this out right now. I was going to wait. I see it. I was going to wait to do this, but I'm filled right now, so I'm gonna unload it on you guys. So one, like I said, it's imperative to, if you truly want to ascend, you have to sacrifice. That's the 7 principles. If you don't know what the 7 principles are, as a matter of fact, I'll put them up on the screen now. You're going to have to sacrifice yourself, your flesh, what you feed yourself, what you eat here, on your body, what you eat, what you take in, because you become what you eat. We are what we eat. That's why that is said, because what we take into our systems is what we become. So if you truly care about ascending, then you're gonna have to sacrifice your flesh. We're doing things like we're eating healthier, we're eating more fruits and vegetables, and a lot of us are going raw. You have a lot more to do now. You have to go into the darkness. Like I said in the last video, you're gonna have to go and meet source, your source. You're gonna have to go to the elements. You're going to have to go to an atomic level. And the only way to go to an atomic level is to abstain, sorry. It's abstinence. To abstain from the physical. The less physical you do, the more spirited you become. You are a soul being in this flesh. You want to be more connected, or even remember what you are and be in connection with what you are. You think you flesh, you can't even connect. Most of us can't even connect with our soul, self. The self is a soul, and beyond that, the self is consciousness. And in order for us to do that, we're going to have to make the sacrifice. The 7 principles above that you just saw is the things that you're going to learn and or sacrifice. Sacrifice is the 7th principle, but it's the most important, because you're going to have to sacrifice the self to get what you want. So a lot of us talking about tone, vibrations, and frequencies, but you're talking about them from regurgitation. You're talking about them from reading them in a book. You're talking about them from somebody else talking about them. But when you become ascended, when you become enlightened, again, enlightenment is releasing yourself from your desires, all those things that's preventing you from going to your higher frequencies, going into your pure consciousness. That's how you get back to your enlightenment. Enlightenment will lead you into the ascension. So make the sacrifice. Literally, I've gone so deep in the darkness that the elements are speaking to me. This is January 2017, 3 Januaries ago. I was visited in my rest and told that I had to go to Costa Rica. And then November the 19th, 2016, I was visited. I was visited by a being named Hayikadal, what you call hydrogen. And hydrogen held a conversation with me all night long. Hydrogen taught me things and showed me things. and explained to me why I needed to personally go to Costa Rica, because I haven't gone yet. And it's been 3 Januaries ago, so that's 2 years that I haven't gone yet. But explaining the importance or the urgency for me to go and what I have to do in Costa Rica, that I have to release myself from everything man-made and go to nature. You know what I mean? Not go to nature and keep some man-made things with me, to release myself from everything man-made. And I'm going to go make that sacrifice, because there's things I need to see and I need to be shown. This is what Hayakathos spoke to me and said. Hydrogen. What it spoke to me and said. So, but one of the things it said, the message was that hydrogen down to the last element on your periodic table. It said that they are the deities that we're looking for. Those 99 elements has created everything. Hydrogen said that it was the atom that you're looking for. And helium was the Eve, because the two of them merged and created everything else. But, so meaning hydrogen, it's in itself is a masculine force. Helium is a feminine force. So then you say man was first, or masculinity was first. No, she was first, because hydrogen was birthed out of the darkness, out of the womb. Movement, force. She is masculinity and femininity. So that force is called hydrogen. It's masculine. And then from hydrogen you got helium. So that's your Eve story, how Eve came out of the rib of Adam. The atom. Helium came from hydrogen. Hydrogen came from source. Those are the two. Those two elements are the masculine and feminine aspects of source. Manifest on the flesh. They are the beginning. That's your Adam and Eve. That's your masculine and your feminine principle. And those two created all other atomic particles, your molecules. That's how they're combined, you know, to get a molecule is atoms combining and to create molecules and the other atoms, da-da-da-da. The 99, everything in this universe that they found so far, and maybe some other stuff that we don't know about, but these are the ones we know about. These are the ones on this earth. Those 99 elements created everything. Those 99 elements are your deities. They are your creators. They are what you're looking for. And this comes from a conversation with the elements. I'm trying to tell y'all something. This is what happens when you are on the path to true ascension. Not talk. Not just talking the ascension, but ascending. Again, you can eat a whole bunch of fruit all goddamn day long. But if you're not making the sacrifices to go back to the darkness, to cross the bridge of nothingness, to cross the bridge of low vibration, and going back to the darkness, to the dark light, to dark matter and dark energy, and connecting with source, herself, itself, which is feminine, because I've met her. And to be feminine is to be masculine and feminine. It's both. It encases both principles. Masculinity is just masculinity. Femininity is both. Be female, again, is to be both. Hence, we are able to procreate. Okay, and people are speaking on that, because it hasn't been seen that parthenogenesis isn't real. That's because we don't see it. But again, I deal with source, and source has shown me that it's real. Source has shown me that I am a primordial mother, that I was on this planet during the time. I mean, I'm getting all kinds of stories about, I don't know, this kind of crazy shit people be telling me about in some kind of galactic beings and all this stuff, who was against mankind and the da-da-da-da-da. No, that's not real at all. I don't know. That stories could be real. I'm not from that mob. I'm about universal harmony. And I was embodied in the being who walked first on this planet. I've seen her and walked with her as her on this planet, walking right out of the crocodile. That's where you get the whole reptilian story from. Parthenogenesis is real. But it's just like it was a time it said man couldn't walk on the moon, that was impossible. He did it. There was a time when man can't fly, but then he created the airplane. Man can't glide across water unless he Jesus or some shit, but then he cut down a tree and made it into a boat. Don't tell me what can't happen because you don't see it. Because a lot of things have been seen. They said a woman wouldn't run for president. A black man would never be president. Don't say what can't happen because it hasn't happened in your ignorance. Because you'll just be one of the ones left the fuck behind. Parthenogenesis is real. And we'll probably see it in this day. Trust me, I'm working real hard on it. Because I have a magic with me that most people just don't have. And I know it's not just for me. I know it's for the magic because I've been shown the process of parthenogenesis. So it's something me and my partner is working on now. Some shit you could actually write a movie about and still wouldn't believe it. So this one to the sisters, don't let them take you. Take your no. Because it's innate in you. You know what you know. A lot of sisters know. Some of them just don't. Some of them are lost. But a lot of you know what you know. And don't give your no up just because you haven't seen it. There was a time you didn't think the slaves would ever be freed. Until Harriet Tubman. It's not that complicated. See, a mystery is only a mystery until you know the secrets of it. Now, once you know the secrets of it, then it's not a mystery no more. I just gave you the secrets in the last video to the Ascension. But until you heard that, it was impossible. Like, Ascension just not really even happening. You think you're ascending just because you're talking about elements and frequencies and tones and vibrations and shit. But if you're not talking to the elements, you're not ascending. If your master teachers and your preachers and those who are supposed to be leading you are not communicating with the elements, they're not ascending. Because they're talking about ascension. And by the way, speaking of parthenogenesis again, just because you haven't seen it doesn't make it real. You need to do your research because it's happening all over the place. It's happening all over the planet right now. As a matter of fact, it's a group on Facebook called Parthenogenesis. The man's name is Den. I forget his last name, but he's a friend of mine on Facebook. We've corresponded and may even do some work together. Look into that. The page on Facebook called Parthenogenesis, this guy who wrote the book on it, who talked to the Native American tribes, who are still doing it. Women who are still going through this process on the planet. And I will tell you something. See, things move in consciousness. It's a consciousness happening right now. It's a conscious movement that's happening right now. Because we're starting to remember, we're starting to believe, or we're starting to know again. The way things move in nature like this. You can have 100 birds in the sky. And one bird turn to the right while all of them going to the left. And then a second bird will do that. Once the 51st bird go, the last 49 just turn. Because consciousness, we are all consciousness. When that conscious wave happens in the majority, everything else has to go with it. Like the way our menstruals are going right now. Your lady, like it's a story about the lady who, over in India, they don't menstruate like we do. And bleed all crazy and just hemorrhaging and shit. When she did her travels and came to the United States, she bled, grown woman in her 30s, she bled for the first time. When she went back to India, she didn't bleed no more. Why? Why did she stop and why did she start? The consciousness. The consciousness in the United States, you're taught since you're young, you're going to bleed every 28 days. You got to be on for 7 days. You know, if a girl don't come on and she's the one who broke the goddamn mold, they go inside of her and puncture her and make her ass bleed. The consciousness in India is we don't do this. So because we control the consciousness of the planet. I am God. We control the consciousness of the planet. So now the consciousness is starting to shift in the women. The consciousness is starting to shift in the men. You have men out there now talking about the black woman God and she could procreate her own. And there was more men than women at first. But when they did that, they woke the women up. Now you have a conscious movement in the women. We are God. You have this conscious movement in the women, just changing the consciousness. Now nature is starting to shift back to where it belongs because of our consciousness. Look it up about the shark. Where was that shark at? Anyway, look up about the shark that was in a zoo. It's Australia, maybe Brazil, somewhere. Just look it up. The shark. She had a baby once. You know, sharks can hold sperm up to 4 years. So in 2012, she had a baby with the male. They separated her for the purposes that they did. 2016, she had a baby. So they figured, oh, because, you know, she can hold sperm up to 4 years. But when they tested the DNA of the baby, it didn't have any DNA of the father. She procreated on her own, and it's unheard of. Don't tell me just because you don't know it and haven't seen it, the shit ain't happening. Look this up on YouTube. I mean, on Google. What's it called? Sprouting seeds in fruits. Nature is starting to have babies on its own without the sunlight in fruits. And I know this what made me look it up because my twin flame, apple, she had what's some apples she eat? Pink ladies. And her apple the seeds were sprouted in the apple. So we looked it up on Google, all over the place. The seeds are sprouting in the fruit, and that can't happen. We would say that can't happen. That don't happen, right? Because it has to come out, it has to dry up, then it has to go into darkness and be wet. The fruit, remembered, it is darkness, it is wet, and it sprouted its seeds. Parthenogenesis is coming back. No, it's back on the planet. Sisters, it's about your consciousness. Just know we can. Fuck that we haven't, or you haven't been one of the ones who've seen it, because it's happening. Look it up. But just because you haven't seen it, don't say that it can't happen. You feel me? Who'd have thought when, in more primitive time, that we can get in these little cars and spin upside down and fly at 100 miles an hour for no good reason and call that shit a roller coaster? Don't say what can't happen. Everything around you couldn't happen. Everything around you is what? An idea. What is an idea? Idea is an egg. What is a thought? Thought is a mental sperm, which shines the light on the egg. Impregnated by what? Your mental penis, your pineal gland. It will control your imagination. Know that you can. Ascend. You know that your leader is ascending or have ascended when they're speaking to the elements, when they're speaking to nature, when they're speaking to rocks, when they're speaking to trees. You hear me? When they're speaking to Hayikadal, what you call hydrogen, when they're speaking to the elements. If your leader are not connected with the animals and children, get the fuck away from them. Because children are still closer to the innocence. Though they cross over and get dumbed down. They just came from dark matter, dark energy. The soul they just came through. So we have beings that don't want children around them. Something wrong. When you have beings who don't connect with the animals, something's wrong. If your leader ain't got that power, get away from them. They're in ego. They're energy vampires. And they're absolutely eating you.